Mulan gets a PG-13 rating in a Disney live action first. That's the headline on this Thursday's MBE Movie News.
Yes, John, that is the headline on today's show. Of course, this film is directed by Nicky Caro. We know that it's got $100 million budget as well. It's also had its rumours about the box office numbers being affected, obviously with the crisis over in China as well just now. But what's your thoughts on this as the rating it's getting? Does this surprise you? We do know, obviously, this is it's a bit of a legendary tale, as we know. So does it surprise you that much that it's getting this rating?
No, it doesn't, in short. But
yeah. I'll move on.
I'll try and develop out a longer answer to that. No, it doesn't, Stephen, because this feels like a different movie from Disney. I says it from the very get-go when I watched the trailer for the first time. Distinctly different feel and vibe from the trailer. It's not based on a shot-by-shot remake of an original like we've seen with the likes of, obviously, Aladdin, Dumbo, The Lion King, Beauty and the Beast. I think Cinderella was done at one point as well.
Maybe wrong. No,
I think it was. I think that was the first live-action remake.
Yeah.
This isn't different. This isn't the same as that. This is completely different, if I can speak correct English. It just feels like a more violent, visceral movie. We've seen shots in the trailer. Also, it's not gave away too much.
No.
But you're seeing lots of sword fights. It's based on this young girl going out to avenge her father and her family, bring honour to their name again, if you like. She's thrown off the shackles of presumed roles for different genders. Over there, I think back in those days, it was very much the female sits and looks very nice. They're painted, put makeup on their face, and they sit with little nice ornamental things in their hair, and they don't do much. And it was like almost like what's she called again? Her from The Lord of the Rings, the Rohirrim daughter. I think it was Eoma.
Yeah.
That says that during the trailer as well, I think, or after the trailer, that she also shut this preconceived idea for what a female's role is. She went off to fight in the battle, also went against her father's wishes.
Yeah.
This is the same. It's the same vibe for me, and it feels fitting that this movie gets a PG-13 rating. It's the first PG-13 rating ever, as I think you did say, for a live-action remake of an animated movie, but it's also the first PG-13 release out of Disney Studios since Pirates of the Caribbean. I think The Dead Tell No Tales.
Yeah.
I think that's the name of it.
I don't know what one that was. I kind of lost interest after the second one, John.
So it's been a long time since we've got a PG-13 rated movie, not just animated remakes, but in general. So it's exciting. I'm excited for this movie. I said that the other day when we spoke about
John,
the whole coronavirus nonsense.
Well, that's the thing. I don't really want to obviously regurgitate that story, but it does have obviously a negative effect on obviously the takings of this film, when it finally does come out. It does say in this article, the film is coming out next month, but I think, I did say this the other day as well, and I still believe that there may be a bit of a delay in this film, just with the crisis that is happening in China at the moment, John. But I just want to touch on a couple of other things that I did pick up. New characters. Mm-hmm. I've not seen Mulan, the animated one, which came out in the late 90s, I believe. I've not seen that in many years. I saw it when it first came out, maybe a year or two after it, so it's been a good 20 years since I've seen it. Now, it does say in this article that there is new characters like the villains Bori Khan, played by Jason Scott Lee, and the female antagonist Zhang Lang, played by Gong Li. So you can see, if this article is true, you're going to get these new characters coming in anyway. So, like you said, there's going to be a different spin on this. We'll talk about the violence as well. How far they'll go with that, I don't know. Obviously, it'll be borderline, so that it's not a higher rating. But if that is part of the story and the storytelling, then it must be. They must do that, and I can understand why it's getting that rating.
Yes.
The other thing as well, one of the things I didn't know was that there was. This was something that else was mentioned in this article, was that there has been iterations of this story through musicals. I didn't know that.
No.
I'm not one for going to like the West End or anything like that to see musicals or anything like that, but that was something that I didn't know. Very interesting how that would play out, in a musical.
Well, there was people criticising the movie for lacking the musical numbers, which are obviously connected to the musical itself, so I wasn't aware of it either. I've never seen a Mulan performance, period, be it animated movie, musical, anything. I'm completely new to the story. I don't know what it's about. As I did say, I got the vibe from the trailer. It's almost like a Chinese version of Eoma in The Lord of the Rings. She's going away fighting for her honour of her family against numerous antagonists. I think the female antagonist in the movie, which you mentioned there, I think she may be this sort of, I don't know what enchantress, witch type thing, because I think she shapeshifts into a bird. I think Jet Li is also in this movie, and he's playing a sort of commander, antagonistic figure. Donnie Yen's in it as well, isn't there? Am I talking?
No, I remember one of our
he's playing the father.
One of our followers actually said this. It was something I wasn't aware of. But you're right, John. It's got a whole host of big name stars in there. One of the things that, not one of the things, a series of things that have actually, that this film seems cursed. To a point. Obviously, the latest thing with the coronavirus. But when you look at the things like, there's been script controversy. Where they've had to rewrite. There's been reshoots as well, as we know. Do you believe there's a curse on this film, John? Because now we're getting that close to it. Now, obviously, what's happening with the coronavirus as well, it's just, not that that's linked to the film or anything like that, but it's having an effect on it.
It need to be an Imhotep type curse, Stephen, to derail a Disney animated remake, because it ain't going to make a mark on these movies. These guys over at Disney, they just know what they're doing with these remakes. They all seem to hit minimum of 600 million. I'd have to see what Dumbo made, but out with that, I think they're hitting $1 billion most times. So I think even Beauty and the Beast got close to $1 billion. Certainly was a massive success. I remember Emma Watson was up for La La Land in the role that Emma Stone was in. She went on to win an Oscar. Emma Watson went on to make big Mulan in obviously the box office terms for that movie. So ain't going to make any difference to Disney. They will still rake it in, provided the story is right. Now they've sort of honed it and made it what it should have been in the very beginning. And Disney they run a tight ship. We've seen it with Toy Story 4 as well. Obviously they are not, strictly speaking, Pixar, but they had their bit to play in. So I'm sure, and tossing 70% of that script into the bin and then reworking it, and look at the success of Toy Story 4. So I don't think it will get delayed worldwide. I think it will be delayed in China. I think it won't see the movie for another 2, 3, 4 months, or until this coronavirus issue clears up. I think we will get this movie next month. I certainly hope we do, because it's in my most anticipated top 10 list, and I want to review it. So hopefully it's violent, hopefully it's visceral, distinctly different to other remakes that we've seen in recent years. Not shot by shot, and there's something. It's going to be new for me anyway. I've never seen the original, so it's fresh.
I think
me.
As well, John,
that,
from what I gather from the trailers as well, I know that we reacted to the initial teaser. You did the full trailer yourself. It's going to be a cinematic experience, so I'll definitely be there on opening day. But listen, we'll move on to our next article. This came out after our Hero show, so it's comic book related. It's Ben Affleck explains why he exited Batman after Justice League Fallout. I don't have to read this article. I watched Justice League. I know his reasons, and I think he had the same, sort of, feelings as the rest of us did. But there's a quote in here, John, from Ben Affleck. It says he showed someone the Batman script. As we know, he initially did write a script. He was going to direct as well, I think, at some point. And they said to him, we don't know who this person is. It's obviously someone that's close to him. If he can show him a script, he must be very close to Ben Affleck. He said, I think the script is good. I also think you'll drink yourself to death if you go through what you just went through again. What's your thoughts on this, John? Because whoever it was that said it, maybe it was Henry Cavill.
Maybe it was Matt Reeves sticking his oar in. I want to direct it, Ben. Just don't do it. It's a great script, but... So
what's your thoughts, John? Because it's obviously it kind of gives you an inclination, I kind of gather what Ben Affleck must have been going through after the Justice League Fallout. You saw him. It's maybe a little unfair highlighting this, but you remember that he was on TV with Henry Cavill and he zoned out, and it's been picked up with the whole. Hello darkness my old friend thing, and zooming in and when he's zoning out, but you could see he was clearly affected by it. When they were doing the promotion of Justice League, he just looked out of sorts for such a guy that's full of enthusiasm and passion normally. When he was doing the promotion,
about that character, he has a bat cave in his house.
I mean, it was so so close to him, so close that he actually wrote a script for it as well. But what's your thoughts on this anyway?
Stephen, I'm conflicted. I'm disappointed in one breath, if you'd like, lack of better word springing to my mind at the moment.
Yeah.
Because he is clearly so passionate about the character. As I did say, he has a Batcave, and he was great in the role as this grizzly veteran Bruce Wayne. So it's a shame that he didn't get to see his creative vision play out. We never really got an out-and-out proper Batman movie in his era. I mean, I don't count Batman v Superman. That was a disaster of a movie. If you watch the actual proper version, not the extended director's cut, because that was a little bit better.
Yeah.
But it still wasn't a Batman movie. Justice League certainly wasn't a Batman movie.
No.
That was barely a movie. So I feel sad for him that he didn't get to see this creative vision, because by all accounts the script was pretty fantastic, and he is a really good director, Oscar-winning director. I'm pretty damn sure for, was it Fargo or Argo? Argo. Was it Argo?
Argo, yeah.
Yeah, Argo,
Fargo was the 96 film, yeah.
And then there was a TV show as well with Ewan McGregor. So it's a shame he didn't get to see that realised. But look, in the same and in a different breath, I'm kind of glad it didn't, because I like what we're getting with Matt Reeves now. This story looks incredible. The cast he's assembled with Paul Dano and obviously Jeffrey Wright and Zoe Kravitz, Robert Pattinson, Andy Serkis, the list is endless, Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
We wouldn't have got to have seen that version if we didn't have Ben Affleck walk away from things. So conflicted. Feel sorry for Ben that he didn't get a definitive Batman movie in his era, but then at the same time I'm not going to be too remorseful over it. I'll move on swiftly and look very much forward to, very much, that's a strange way of saying things, I've had issues with that before, forward to Robert Pattinson's iteration of this character, and moving forward I think 2-3 movies. But yeah, look, I don't even believe this, Stephen. I've seen so many snippets coming out about this reasoning behind him leaving obviously DC and Warner Brothers and stepping away from the Batman. I'm still convinced there was studio interference. They crossed his toes way too many times. I think they initially changed the script, and then they were wanting to change the director and keep him on board as a mere actor, and he ain't going to do that. This man's an absolute star in Hollywood. He's got a reputation for writing fantastic scripts, directing movies, as I did say.
Yeah.
There's
no going back after that, is there?
There's no respect. You need to leave some respect on the man's name, and they didn't do it, so he walked away. And now this is just saving face. I don't believe it. Like, you drink yourself into death. Come on, this is a guy who wrote Good Will Hunting with goddamn Matt Damon. Come on.
Yeah, I mean, no. I think it's just picking up a quote from somewhere and building a story around it, John. But you're absolutely right. It's I don't think we'll ever get to know the full answer to his reasons. It might have been a combination of little things or one big thing, but I don't think we'll ever get the full story of it. And it's the same with Henry Cavill as well. Although there is rumours, obviously, that he's back on good terms with Warner Brothers, etc. So who knows? But listen, we'll move on, John, because we do have a blog rundown to get through as well today. And we're going to just finish off this section of the show with another headline. We don't do the Force Friday show anymore, for the time being anyway. But there is obviously little snippets coming out, and this is obviously coming off the back of the Rise of Skywalker's cinematic run coming to an end, and now we're getting the home video release news. And what they say is we won't have a director's commentary or deleted scenes on the, I take it must be the digital download as well, not just the DVD Blu-ray. But one of the things that struck me about this article, John, was there was actually no source where this is coming from, but apparently it is word of mouth. These things do, especially when it could be some guy that's actually putting this, the sleeve of the cover into the Blu-rays that might have got this news just with the layout of what's inside.
God help him.
So you don't know exactly. You just don't know where it's come from. But certainly it's gathering legs on social media. That we're not getting any of that kind of thing from the director, which is. It's one of the things I always like about any film, not just Star Wars films. I always like to get the director's take on things and get their view on why they did certain things. Certainly, we'll keep it Star Wars related. It was one of the things I did like about the prequel DVDs was the amount of content you got on them, and George Lucas's point of view on certain things, because not everybody liked the sequel trilogy. It's prequel trilogy, sorry. No, they didn't like the sequel trilogy either, but the prequel trilogy, John, obviously had its ups and downs, more downs. George Lucas, on the commentary tracks, actually explained himself quite well. Not that I agreed with everything that he said on them, but you could understand his reasoning for cutting certain scenes out. That Yoda one always annoyed me, the one when he was flying off to Dagobah. The formation of the rebellion as well. Although we kind of got
cool scene,
we kind of got that in we kind of got that in Rogue One partially anyway. So they kind of made up for that. But what's your thoughts on this anyway? Is it a surprise to you that we're not getting anything from J.J. Abrams? We know that he's going to be a busy guy. In the next couple of years, he's gone into the comic book world now. So what's your thoughts anyway, John?
Stephen, I think he's just done with it. He can't be arsed. He's finished. Sick of the fan backlash, sick of all of the criticisms, and just he's done with Star Wars. He's moved on. He's got it out the way. He came back for a favour for Kathleen Kennedy, stepping in for obviously Colin Trevorrow. Yeah. And now he's just done. He's away over to DC. No, Warner Brothers DC. Yeah, both. Yeah. But he's signed a lucrative contract or deal with Warner Brothers. Apparently he's working on some interesting stuff over there, superhero related. I just think he can't be arsed now. He can't even be bothered to get back into a studio and record some director's commentary, which is a shame because, as you did say, synonymous with Star Wars home releases is the amazing featurette stuff. I'm sure we'll get some amazing feature stuff here and relating to maybe behind the scenes and visual effects and whatnot. But even The Last Jedi, I mean, that the director and the Jedi documentary, that was a fantastic documentary. Even if you don't agree with what Rian Johnson did, that was amazing. Seeing behind the scenes interactions with him and Mark Hamill and whatnot. Even that lit up the home release for The Last Jedi. So it's
John, I think it helped. You just actually made a good point there. Not that you don't always do that anyway, but in regards to the Mark Hamill thing, if you didn't see that, all you were getting on YouTube was the sort of trauma that this man was going through. This wasn't his look, etc. When you actually see these behind the scenes stuff, how much he put into this character for this film, he might not have agreed with where the direction of the character was going and how he was getting portrayed, but one of the things I did take from this, Mark Hamill put his heart and soul into this to the point that it was actually down his hands and knees crying after a scene, because the character means that much to him, and you also got that interaction with Rian Johnson and Mark Hamill as well. Rian Johnson revealing that he is the last. I think we all knew that.
The actual title moment. But that was amazing.
And it was so taken aback by it. So sometimes it's important, for the fans to get to see the reasons behind decisions and stuff like that. So I'm very disappointed by it, but it also raises a question on JJ's relationship with Lucasfilm at this point as well. Maybe not so much Lucasfilm, but Disney. The fact he's going to Warner Brothers and not doing stuff with Marvel.
I think it's got to play a part.
I think it does, because we did speak in one of our last Force Friday shows about the relationship and the studio interference for the final cut. I think it was the final sort of scenes in The Rise of Skywalker that he was wanting to do a bit more with the Anakin character, perhaps Ben Solo appearing at the end as well. But it wasn't to be, but I think there has been a fallout.
Yeah, look, Stephen, I'm just reading in the article. I think you're right. I think primarily why we're not seeing him coming in and doing commentary for this movie is because he has moved on to an arch rival in Hollywood. The fact we're not seeing deleted scenes, I think, probably plays into the speculation that was running around about this movie prior to its release over what was making the cut and what wasn't making the cut, how many different versions we had of it. Maybe they want to knock that in the head, don't want to give away too much in terms of deleted scenes, in case it maybe confirms those rumours were true, I don't know. But when I look, there's two more points I want to make. You look at the bonus features that are in it, we are getting a feature-length documentary, The Skywalker Legacy, which is pursuing the actual making of the movie. We're getting some other thing, Pisana Pursuit, creating the speeder chase. And then we're getting something else, Warwick and Son. I think it's Warwick Davis, and I think his son actually starred in the movie with him.
It's the Ewoks at the end.
Yeah, the Ewoks. So there's going to be some neat little things in there, which you always get. But the final thing I would add, does anything sum up how discombobulated and how much of a shambles Star Wars is at the moment than this final paragraph, where they're going to say that there is about 20 different physical versions of this home release. There's a Target edition, a Best Buy edition, a Walmart edition. I'm sure there's probably a Tesco, Asda and Morrison's edition over here. Yeah. What is going on? Just release one version, or maybe two, a special edition steelbox version and a regular version. you're just diluting the Star Wars brand by continually putting out 50 different versions, and then they sit on shelves and don't get bought, and it just dilutes and takes away from that mysticism surrounding the brand. What are you doing, Disney?
Well, this is the thing, John, and Star Wars, the official Twitter account, put this out today. You know, its release. Not so much the news of the commentary or anything like that, but you can go into my Twitter account, Stephen John 76. You can see my reaction to that one. But listen, we'll move on, John, to our final part of the show. It's obviously the blog rundown where we just go through a few movie reviews. I think it's 5 we're doing now, John. It's been a long time since I've did this, so very, very rusty. But listen, we'll move on to the first review. This is Ready or Not from 2019, and it was reviewed by our very own Peter Plumers, and this is directed by Matt Bellatelli. Open, I think that's how you...
Matt Bettinelli Open,
yeah, that's the one. And Tyler Gillett. And that's starring Samara Weaving, Adam Brody, Mark O'Brien.
Yeah, Stephen, look, in short, we are keeping it streamlined. We are miles behind with this blog rundown. There's just so many to get through. We are upping it to 5. But I really enjoyed this movie. It was actually a surprise hit for me last year. I really enjoyed the violence, the comedy. Story was a little bit nonsensical. The ending was fantastical, with them puffing out of existence. Or not out of existence, exploding out of existence. It was slightly strange, but quite enjoyable. And I think Peter pretty much shares my view on it as well. I think he thought it was a pretty damn nice little movie, which fans of the genre will love. And I certainly did. I'm a fan of the genre.
Yeah, we'll move on to our next review, John. It's Peter again. You know, he's been a busy guy.
He has indeed.
This is from 2nd of January. This shows you how far back we are, John. But this is Ad Astra. I know this is a film that you watched. I didn't go and see this. But I think we should make the point. We're actually going to be talking about this film. There's actually 2 reviews condensed into this show.
Yeah, I think we just talked about
so
the two.
I think, there's one from Peter and there's one from Gianni as well. So different views I've got on the film, John. This is obviously directed by James Gray. It was also written by James Gray and Ethan Gross, and stars Brad Pitt, Tommy Lee Jones and Ruth Negga. Yeah,
Stephen, I really enjoyed this movie. I went to see it in its opening weekend. I just was blown away by the trailers. And I know James Gray is a man who gets enveloped in a movie, really pours his heart and soul into it. And I know Brad Pitt is just maturing into a truly magnificent gentleman, not just an actor, but he seems to be becoming a more laid-back guy than what we've seen 10, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
And he really does deliver a stellar performance in this. Sadly, he doesn't win an Oscar for it, but he went on to win an Oscar for obviously playing Cliff Booth once upon a time in Hollywood, so he doesn't care. I actually thought this was probably a better performance, just what he did with the quietness and things. It was so restrained, the performance. He didn't overact at any point. The nuanced way that he delivered the lines and just emotions on the face, it was really reined in, and it takes a really refined, mature actor to deliver that performance, and he did it. And he was in the movie a long stretch on his own, so I really enjoyed it. I think Peter didn't enjoy it quite as much. It's a bit of a Marmite movie. There's a lot of people think it's a pile of shit, and the rest seem to be blown away by it and love it. I think Gianni is firmly in the latter. He loved it. I'm maybe being a little bit harsh. I'm maybe generalising these reviews. I haven't really had a chance to go back and read it fairly recently, so I'm battering through this. So if I'm being harsh on you, Peter, I do apologise. But look, one thing you can't state is the writing quality is not absolutely exemplary as ever.
As ever, yeah.
Fantastic writing. So I highly urge you, I'm sure Stephen does as well, to go along and read all of these reviews on the website, because you will be a very happy person if you're a fan of film. Yeah,
certainly will be, John. And another great film, but reviewed by DM Anderson. This is The Lighthouse. We obviously did our own review for this a few weeks ago, John, and this is directed by Robert Eggers, written by Robert Eggers and Max Eggers, and stars Robert Pattinson and Willem Dafoe and someone else, Valerie Karaman. I take it that must have been the mermaid, yeah.
Yes,
standout performance.
The infamous mermaid, Stephen. I love Robert Eggers. I just think he's a fantastic filmmaker. He's completely different to anything else out there. He's just off-piste, I think that's a skiing term.
Okay.
I don't know if I've said that right, mind you. I've never skied in my life. I
can't correct you, John. I've never heard of it.
Yeah, but he's pissed, whatever you pissed. Pissed is a way of saying you're drunk in Scotland. Pissed. But yeah, he's such a great, unique director, and I really enjoyed this movie, as we both did. We both reviewed it. Fantastic performance from William Dafoe and Robert Pattinson. Absolutely mental. Amazing on a technical level. And Dave seems to agree with that. He doesn't really buy into the fantastical takes on the movie, like Howard was the imaginary part of Winslow's descent into madness. He never really existed. Things like that. And I agree. Some people can read into stories way too much. I like to read into them, but not that much. But he really enjoyed it as well. He thought it was a fantastically adventurous horror movie, unpredictable, maddening and ambiguous and surreal, and I agree. We spoke about it.
Yeah, we did at great lengths, John.
Yes.
You know, and it was such well, you know, I like doing the movie reviews anyway, John. But it was one of those ones I really enjoyed talking about because we try and keep our chat to a minimum coming out of theatre, and so we can unload it all on the review show. And it was one of the ones I enjoyed doing them all, but it was one of those ones you had to think a little bit more just because of the performances, the sheer look of the film as well. But a thoroughly entertaining movie and another great review as well. And we'll just round up the show, John, with our final review coming in from Gianni De Maya. This is Uncut Gems. It's on Netflix here in the UK at the moment, and it's obviously stars Adam Sandler. This film, I know you've seen, John.
Yes.
I've not seen it yet, surprisingly. I'm a Netflix subscriber, so I've got no excuse for not seeing this film, but you thoroughly enjoyed it.
I really did, Stephen.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it for that Adam Sandler, primarily. The Safdie brothers you speak about unique filmmakers. These guys are young, ambitious and unique filmmakers. I watched Adam Sandler talking about how they made the cinematographer's life a living hell. They were thrusting wide and long zoom lenses onto the cameras and whatnot, but it just seemed to work. And I think that just shows you when you have that gift, that genius, the magic behind the camera, then everything just seems to work and pay off for you. And certainly what paid off in this film was Adam Sandler. I think Gianni agrees. He says, what else can you add about the performance that hasn't already been said? Well, I can't add much more.
No.
Magnificent. One of the snubs of the year that he didn't get nominated for Best Actor. I don't think he would have won anyway, because it was Joaquin Gere, no matter what. Yeah. But he was sublime, and he's shown over the last few years. You reviewed the Mileage Stories.
Yeah, it was
that
a great
he can
film.
do drama. He seems to have matured into a real fine actor in the drama side of things. He seems to have a lot of confidence in his ability to do drama.
Yeah.
But he can do it, and he does it in this to start on effect. A really tragic film. The ending saddened me quite a bit. The way it ended, it was so abrupt. The way one character bit the bullet, if you like, and it was a shame, but amazing as well. Just exploring this guy's problem with addictions and whatnot, and the way it was just destructive, and the way it destroyed many lives round about him. But yeah, fantastic film.
Yeah, John, I've not seen it, as I said, but I am a subscriber, so I've got no excuse. I certainly will seek this out, purely for Adam Sandler alone. You
absolutely should, Stephen. Look, once again though, I would highly urge anyone who is watching the Blog Rundown to go along and give these guys' reviews a good old read, because they are truly fantastically written throughout, and they'll give you a different view on the film. Maybe open your mind up to something you'd perhaps miss. But look, I digress. We shall round up today's Blog Rundown and indeed movie news. What was your thoughts on the array of topics we spoke about? Do you care about Mulan getting a PG-13 rating? Do you care about Ben Affleck and his bullshit reasons for leaving the Batman? If you've got anything to say about the rise of Skywalker, and I can also speak about that as well, down below in the comment section. You can also like the video if you've enjoyed it, and you can subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the content. And if you do, then you'll see me and Stephen again tomorrow for a review of Sonic the Hedgehog.